There.
I had to rename my square. And I set up another one somehow.
There we go.
There we go. How are you guys?
Good.
Good. Hey, Judy, you probably didn't get the draft copy
No.
of the stuff. I just realized that. Well, I would email it now, but Jocelyn always just shares her screen anyway, so.
Okay.
It's just so weird that I've got this other square going on. I'm not really sure what that's all about.
There's Dean. Hello, Dean.
Ralph. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Dean.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Oh, how are you doing? I feel like it's been a while.
I think so too.
Yeah. I missed the last selectmen's meeting, I think. Forget why. I think I was getting ready for the Green Fair.
Maybe at some point we should talk about that.
Okay. Okay. I just checked out the minutes and maybe it's a good thing I wasn't there.
Yeah. We'll talk.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Oh, so Judy, I think I remember at a selectmen's meeting, they were talking about your one. I don't think you're officially appointed yet, are you?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, what are they?
But I guess Jim had said that I needed to come to some meetings. I was at the last meeting. I didn't comment. I just listened. But I
Okay.
was at the last Zoom meeting.
Okay, yeah, you said that in your text to me, so I went back and I looked at the minutes and you weren't reflected there, so I don't know why. Leslie Anderson does the minutes, so we'll just make sure.
Yeah, we'll just change that.
Judy's exactly right. It was Jim's notion. We were all set to appoint you, and then he thought, oh, we really should have people sit in on a meeting or two for these commissions. So I think it was a good idea. So it's just a kind of a formality, Judy, that will.
Yep. No, I know that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm here again.
Excellent.
Good.
Hello, Leslie. Hello, Jocelyn.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Jocelyn, you've been busy.
Good job, Jocelyn.
Oh, with the plan?
Excellent, excellent. What a lot of work that was.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah, well, no, I look forward to do it. Like Leslie sent me some pictures today. I look forward to making it look, nicer with some pictures and, but thank you.
Great. Yeah, I was hoping we could make a list of the pictures we think we would like, and I can try to get some sent over to you. I was also going to ask, Janet Hill is an amazing photographer, so she might be able to take some for us as well. Mine never seem to come out that great. Some do, but.
You didn't see mine.
I always forget that about Janet. Michelle, you're absolutely right. I don't know
Yeah, I went to her show at the library. It was just stunning.
I didn't make it.
I mean, she does mostly parks and stuff, but she can frame it well. So whether it's buildings or people, we should talk about what we're looking for.
You look behind me. I have several of her pictures from the national parks, but she had a thing about barns, and she did a whole series of pictures on barns. And ones with the national parks, she took several trips around the country and took pictures. And I would add that show at the library, she sold several pieces. I got one, and they say at the library that never happens.
Wow.
They have all kinds of shows there and all kinds of art and stuff, but maybe one piece sells, usually none, and never, I don't know, there were 3 or 4 pieces that sold.
Well, that's
So you're right.
fantastic.
She is a very good photographer.
Yeah. So we'll make that report beautiful, Jocelyn. We just have to figure out what it is we want.
Sounds good.
Actually, I'm gonna pull up. You're muted, Leslie.
Okay. Just so you know, I took pictures of the town hall, the sign, the Washington sign by the town hall, but that needs to be cleaned.
I know, it's got lichen all over it.
The sign on B Brook that says Washington Village, the town beach. I parked in Ralph's parking spot this morning.
What about the town beach?
I parked in your parking spot this morning,
Oh, anytime.
so I took some pictures. And let's see, I forget, Jocelyn's got them. If they're any good, you know, it's just a variety of areas. I didn't get to Marbledale. I was gonna go down. I think we need something from each area, each village. Just a little something. There's not much left to distinguish each village, but we can figure something out.
Yep. So we should get the green in there as well.
I did the church.
Yeah. I see Janet called in. And Janet, I just want to let you know, we were talking about you and your photography skills. As we're talking about adding pictures to the final plan.
Oh.
So just so you know, we were talking about that. We're gonna, maybe at some point as we go through the plan, we can think of the places that we feel should be represented in the plan. Leslie took a bunch already of town hall and a couple other landmarks, but we can think about that as maybe as we go through things that we feel reflect our town.
You've been drafted, Janet.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, I have 5:34. Let's call the meeting to order.
Leslie, can I ask a question? This is Chris. Isn't the meeting down at the town hall?
No, it's Zoom.
Okay, I thought it was a combination.
No,
I'm at the
not
town
yet.
hall.
No, because
Okay.
of Jocelyn being so far away, I figured we'd stick with Zoom as much as we can.
I'm happy that it's Zoom. It's just I thought it was a combination, a hybrid like they've been doing at Board of Selectmen and sustainability and stuff. So
Well,
it is not, it's
We're
not in
as
person.
fancy.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Shane got called into work, so he can't make it tonight. And I don't see Lisa, so let's forego the minutes and just get right to Jocelyn so we can work on the preliminary plan. Hi, Judy. You're muted.
I was at the last meeting, on Zoom. I did, and so that's the only thing I would say about the minutes. I did read the minutes and it was not noted that I was there. I was on Zoom. I didn't comment, but I did listen a lot.
Oh, I didn't see you. I didn't see your name anywhere, so I apologize. So I'll add that to the minutes.
Thank you, Leslie.
Okay, so let's go with Jocelyn.
All right, great. So yeah, I think what I have on the agenda is obviously to review the draft housing plan, get your comments on it. Again, we can talk more about photos that we want to add for the final design. There's some other things we'll talk about with that. And then obviously we can talk about next steps in terms of getting more information out there to folks about the draft housing plan. And I think at the last meeting, we talked about presenting this to the Planning Commission at a joint Planning Commission and Zoning Commission meeting in September. That was,
Yes,
I think,
we did.
Wayne's idea.
Wayne was going to, he will call a special planning meeting. to, once we, oh, Wayne's here. Good, we'll wait till he gets in and he can explain it.
And then we can review that flyer as well that I think was meant to, you know, be passed out and then let people know about the opportunity to attend that planning commission meeting at which the plan will be presented.
Wayne, hi.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
No, that's fine. Jocelyn was just going over the proposed next steps. And we'd like to confirm that you will call a special meeting of the Planning Zoning Commission to hear our draft or our plan or whatever we're gonna call it at the time.
Sure, I'll call, I'll call I mean, depending on how the calendar works, we can either do it as part of one of our regular planning commission meetings, or I'm happy to call a special meeting. Basically, you know, it's really something that should be submitted to the planning commission at a public hearing. And what I'll do is I will do it that way, and I will invite the members of the zoning commission.
Wayne, do you think you might want to do that at your September 1st meeting?
No,
It might be too early. I don't know. I mean, are you guys going to have it done by then?
I think we wanted to wait until after everyone is back from vacation. What is it?
Well, we're not
Labor Day?
meeting in August. We've decided not to meet in August.
So Labor Day is the 6th. And I think we thought it would be best to wait until after Labor Day so that people are finished with their summer travels to try to get just the best attention. So whether that's, you know, and zoning's usually the last of the month, planning is in the beginning of the month. So we can look at that.
And we're the 14th of September.
Okay, so we're right in between.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to call a special meeting. I mean, and I've told my fellow planners that that is a possibility, and they're fine with it as well. So,
What just for my clarification too, how does this, you're going to have a public hearing to present the draft plan. Is there another step after that? Is there a town meeting, do we think, that is needed or no?
not that I know of. I believe that you know, we would invite the committee to present the plan to us as part of a public hearing, and then I would invite public comment. The planning commission would basically make a referral to the Board of Selectmen to approve, you know, to accept the plan. And I believe the Board of Selectmen are the ones who approve the plan. This doesn't have to go before a town meeting.
Right, this goes to the Board of Selectmen for the final approval.
Correct. You know, even the POCD doesn't get approved by a town meeting.
Right.
So
Right,
it's approved by the selectmen.
And zoning is invited to the public hearing,
As
but
a
will
courtesy.
they have their own, do you think, or
No,
no?
they
no,
don't have, no, they are being invited as a courtesy.
and we've already met and given them a preliminary of
Yeah.
what's being proposed.
No,
So invited to the planning will cover the additional information that they may not have yet.
correct. But the chain of approval goes housing committee to planning commission to Board of Selectmen.
Right,
Great, okay, awesome,
So
thank you.
would you guys mind if we talk about dates just because they're getting filled up already?
right, no, that's good. Well, like I said, our next, we were planning on not meeting in August. Just to
Right.
give everybody a break and give them some summertime. So we weren't gonna meet again until September. On the schedule, our next meeting is the 14th. So maybe we should continue with that meeting, do all the final dotting the i's and crossing the t's, and then have Wayne come up with what he would, well, planning will have already met in September, correct?
Yep, so planning is Wednesday, September 1st.
And then zoning is,
Monday, September 27th.
so if we try and go by the first week in October.
Well,
sometime-
our regular meeting is October 6th, and
Well, why don't we schedule it for then?
that's fine by me.
Okay,
Okay, so October 6th is for planning. And
Right, and we could make the public hearing a part of that meeting, and public hearings typically occur at the beginning, so we would just have it first up.
okay,
great. Does that work for you, Jocelyn?
Yeah.
Great.
So,
What,
know,
what
you've got-
time, what time do those meetings start?
7:30,
And this would be a real face-to-face meeting,
correct.
do
okay?
you want, Jocelyn, will you be able to get down to Washington, or can we make arrangements to have her come in on Zoom?
no, I can come down in person.
Okay,
And we also have the hybrid in place. In fact, planning did it the other night,
right.
and it worked like a charm, so.
Just got a little dizzy with it going from.
Yeah, it does. It does get a little.
Woo.
I know, with the owl spinning around.
Well, what we can
Let's
do
just,
then,
we'll assume that it's gonna be hybrid
we'll
and,
do a hybrid,
yeah,
and that way people can still, the public can still come by not having to come in person.
I agree, but we will do in person, and those who can't come in person can Zoom in.
Right. Okay, that's good. I'm happy with that. Does
Okay, so-
everybody else-
Let's jump into the plan. I'll call it up on the screen here. Oh, I can't.
oh, sorry, I always forget to, I'll do that.
That's all right.
Hmm. Okay, you should be set.
All right. So maybe I'll just start running through it, and of course you guys can jump in. Again, this is just supposed to give you a sense of how the plan can be, organized, but it will look nicer than this in the final version.
I don't know, it looks pretty nice to me, the way it is.
Me too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, so obviously we have the introduction here talking about why the town is developing a housing plan and listing all of you as part of the task team.
Hey, Jeff,
Obviously,
sorry to interrupt. Can you go a little bigger? Can you go to 100%?
yeah.
Thank you. you.
Um,
Yeah, that's much better. Thanks.
And obviously we will add in when the plan was adopted, once it gets adopted. And then we talk about the process that the town has gone through to create the housing plan. And again, we will describe the adoption process once that happens. So I know some of you are familiar with a lot of this, has been part of the public presentations about the housing plan to date. Again, just what is doing the definition of affordable housing again, just so everyone's on the same page with how it's being defined. And then I thought it would be good to talk about the Washington Community Housing Trust again, since it is the entity that owns and manages the existing affordable housing that you have. I wasn't sure, I know in past meetings there was talk about a new website for that organization. Has that been created?
went onto a website for the Washington Community Housing Trust, looking for the mission, but I couldn't find it, but I did run into Ralph this morning. And I asked him to get us a copy of the mission of the Community Housing Trust to get it up to you. Would that be?
Yeah, that would be great. And is there a website for the organization?
Well, there is, but it doesn't have much information. It just lists the directors and the president. It
okay.
doesn't tell us anything, really.
Does it have, like, if people are interested in getting more information about the Washington Community Housing Trust, can they go to that website for that purpose?
I'm not very good on these things, but I didn't see a spot where I could go and get information regarding what they do or how they do it. It listed all the members and very little else. It didn't list anything about the properties. So I'm not sure.
Leslie, I'm not sure that's an actual housing trust website. Like if you search them,
I did search them, and that's what
right, they come up under GuideStar, which is like a for nonprofits. They're just listed there, but I don't know that they have their own website that they're maintaining.
Didn't
Yeah.
Anne Marie, was Anne Marie working on one or
She
something?
said she was going to get a new one up, and I never heard that she did.
All right, well, I'll contact her too and see if she happens to.
I can contact Bill and see what he's got. Maybe I can get the mission from him.
Okay,
Because it listed the address as New Milford for the housing trust.
okay. No, I mean, it would be good, you know, again, just if one of the things that we're saying to people who are interested in helping, that they could, you know, contact the Community Housing Trust about donating land or money or whatever. It would be great if there was an easy way for them to do that.
Right, I agree. We'll see what information we can get to put up here on under the Washington.
All right. So that's that. And then, you know, again, this section of the plan is just sort of giving some background information, like what is affordable housing and what does your town plan of conservation development say about housing. This is just that excerpt from your existing town plan. Would affordable housing change the rural nature of Washington? Again, we've reviewed that at one of the other public forums. And then we jump into the housing needs assessment piece, which again, we've presented. So I didn't change any of this information from when we presented it. It's really just, you know, adding a little bit more text explanation to some of the statistics. And I can, you know, again, in the final version, I can play around with graphics. If there's something else that you think should be graphically illustrated, I could add it. But, you know, this is the demographic trends, the kind of lack of diversity, or the, you know, the overwhelming number of single family detached housing versus any other kind, and 3+ bedroom homes. The increase over time in the number of seasonal weekend homes that you've had, limited rental availability, access to ownership. Does anybody have any comments on kind of the housing needs assessment data and how it's being presented?
I think it's good. I like it simple and easy to understand, and I think that's what you've come up with.
And what I was looking for and couldn't find anywhere where there's any kind of chink or weak spot where the naysayers can come in and say, aha, you see, well, you know, they could make what point they could. And I don't see any places like that I could find.
No, I don't either. I think it's an excellent presentation.
I agree.
Well, they'll find something, but
Yeah, well, there's
Um,
always gonna be somebody that's gonna find something, but I think we've done an excellent job covering all the aspects that, you know, are necessary. It's a tough area. We are in a tough area to come up with a affordable housing plan. I think the work we've done has been really good.
yeah, I mean, just if you just look at I mean, even if you're just looking at your median sales price and the average sales price in 2020.
Right.
All right, so that's sort of the housing needs assessment section of the plan. We put in here a summary of the survey that we did on housing needs, and we can either attach all of their summary results to the back of this report, or we could just provide a link to it and have it on the Housing Commission website, whichever you guys want to do.
Provide a link,
A
provide
link.
a link. It's like, I've learned
Yeah.
from doing plans that more isn't always better.
Okay.
Having links available will give them an opportunity to see if they're interested, they can go and look.
I
Okay.
absolutely agree.
Yeah,
great.
I kind of agree. Jocelyn, this breakdown right here that we're looking at is kind of a summary, is it not?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine wouldn't go into any more detail.
Yeah,
Wayne, a link I think this is enough right here, quite frankly.
right. And if they do want the details, give them a link and they can go and pour
Right.
over each question if they want.
Exactly. I agree.
Okay, great. Well, we'll definitely do it that way. The goals and strategies, again, are the ones that we've talked about in previous meetings and at the forum, just again, presented in a more narrative format. Kind of presented as here's the challenge for each goal, and then here are the strategies that have been discussed. Then we get down to how and whether you want to attach the what I'm referring to as Wayne's overlay district, but I
Yep.
don't think that's what we should call it in the plan.
Well, and weren't we gonna do, we were gonna do Marveldale, correct?
That's what this is.
Well, she's got the depot in there,
Oh,
but
no,
Wayne
this
sent
was,
us
I
Marveldale.
didn't, I didn't have Wayne's new
Oh,
version.
and yeah.
So again, I just didn't know whether you want that to be an appendix to this plan, or, I mean, I think it's a nice level of detail to have, or it could be within the plan like this, whatever you guys think is the best
I
way.
would like to see the Marveldale plan, Wayne's plan in the,
Sure.
this part where it says proposed village thing. And then we can have a link to the other ones if people are interested in any of the other sections, but that
Sure.
we kind of looked at this one.
Yeah, I would just say a couple things. I just sent Jocelyn a revised version that's per Marveldale. So
Okay.
she can, it's pretty much like what you see here. It eliminated one of the sections having to do with the Chippewa River for obvious reasons. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. I'm fine with it, although I don't know if I would want to, in the title, I don't know if I would want to call it a proposed village housing. I think I would rather call it a sample. In other words, the whole reason I want to show people this one pager is to
Right.
show them that it's possible and what would be involved in making it possible. I mean, I'm not.
I was just trying to think of something to call it other than Wayne's overlay zone.
We
And
like,
I mean, it could be village overlay zone. I just wanted to have housing in there. Could it be village housing overlay zone?
I think the word that Wayne is questioning is proposed, correct, Wayne?
That's right. Yeah, I have no problem with all the other titling. I just,
Oh,
because,
okay. So
What
call
Yeah,
it,
about maybe like
his idea for
optional?
sample.
Hypothetical.
or sample or something, yeah, but
Sample?
sample, can it be sample village housing opportunity overlay zone?
I think of Costco when I think of samples, but maybe that's just me.
Example?
Possible?
How about
maybe, I
example?
mean, what, when I drafted this, back in the day or whatever, the whole point was to show people that that something like this could be done and that we didn't need to write 20 pages of regulations to do it.
Right.
It's like that you could create something like this,
I mean, I
with
wouldn't even propose.
with a minimal impact on the regulations.
Theoretical.
For example, Wayne, just out of curiosity, what needs to happen to make it proposed? Does the housing commission need to bring it to zoning or
Well,
planning commission?
Somebody would have to officially propose it to the zoning commission. In other words, someone would have to petition the zoning commission
Right.
for a revision to their
Zoning might
regulations.
see this and decide to do it on its own. Come
They
on,
might.
Okay.
guys.
True. Michelle, I like example. You threw that out and you buried the lead. Example village as opposed to sample.
Example, okay.
Yeah, example of village housing opportunity overlay zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did we decide we wanted the Marbledale version in the appendix or in the plan itself?
In the plan. And we can put the other ones in the appendix or, the other overlays that are around.
No, I don't even think we need that. It's an example. So that's really, if people ask, well, would you be doing it for other districts? I mean, the answer is, well, we would consider it for all 4 business districts, but that doesn't mean that the zoning commission would necessarily want to or need to. It's just, again, the whole idea is that, look, this is possible and this is something we could do. And this is what it could look like.
Mhm.
Okay.
And we chose the Marbledale as the first one because it has the most potential for housing. So instead of creating some potential lightning rods, I think it's best to just keep it simple and see if we can get get some traction on the Marbledale.
And I actually, you might not know this yet, but the Planning Commission is working on the 2023 plan already. And one of the focuses that's going to be considered is to put more of a focus on Marbledale in the next plan. So the fact that we would use Marbledale as the example in this plan would be consistent with the path that the Planning Commission is going to be taking.
Perfect. I like to be consistent and on the same page.
Well, the idea is that the Planning Commission, hopefully, and I'm pretty sure this would happen, is the Planning Commission will basically adopt this housing plan in
Uh-huh.
toto as part of the POCD.
Right.
So,
Great.
if any of my planners see anything in here that they think might conflict with the upcoming plan, they'll raise that point during the public hearing. But I think they've been following it pretty much, and there haven't been any red flags raised. So,
No. I think you're right. I think they have been following it, which is a nice way to go. It's appreciated.
yeah, well, I mean, from the planner's perspective, you guys are doing some of our work for us. So we're not going to be, we're not going to be too hard on you. You're actually making our lives easier down the road. So,
Hey, we all work together for the same outcome, right?
mhm.
Hopefully.
Well, that's great, Wayne. It's ideal if planning commissions adopt the housing plan as part of their town plan. So that's great.
That is the strategy.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. So anything else you guys want to talk about the overlay zone? We'll include the example in the plan. And Wayne, if there is anything, I mean, I will, if there's anything else you want me to put on as a preamble to the example, let me know, but I think it kind of speaks for itself.
There's something pretty sexy about the Heilman zone. I don't know.
Well, maybe in my house, but I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
No, if you make it the Heilman plan, it will fail for sure. So
Fair enough.
The Heilman overlay zone.
Exactly.
yeah, that's a recipe for failure if there ever was one.
Sounds
So
like a geologic term.
All right, so, again, the rest of these strategies are the ones we talked about at the public forum. And again, I think one of the appendix can be that table version that we had been looking at before of all the strategies together. So that, or we can put it in the body of the plan, but I'd like to be able to see them all together as well.
I thought the table was really useful too, because it kind of shows who's responsible, you know, whose domain each
Right.
strategy lives in. So I think it's a good visual.
it's
Right.
also consistent with how we do the POCD, because the POCD chapters have this running narrative like you've set up, Jocelyn, with
Right,
bullet points and paragraphs. And at the end of each chapter, we have a one pager that's laid out as a box grid with the goals and who's responsible. We have a very similar thing in our existing POCD, which will exist in the new one as well. So I think it's good to have a one pager, you know, kind of box grid outlining the goals and strategies and who's on the hook.
right. Great. All right, and then this was just, again, another note about, in this section about what can residents do to help, again, just kind of calling out if people are interested, what can they do? And again, this note down here is just, if we can provide them some easy way to contact the Washington Community Housing Trust if they want to donate or volunteer or whatever. I'm just not sure. Again, if there was a website with a contact form or something like that, that would be.
I'll make it a point to try and speak with Bill and
Okay.
see what we can get on this information, because I'm sure they have a plan in place of some type. And if not, I can call Anne Marie also.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, we just want to make it easy for people if they want to be
Right.
helpful. So, all right, and then, so this next section we didn't talk about, but I was looking again and thinking about, I'm in this new group of folks that provide services to people who are homeless or at risk of being homeless within the region. And, there's more and more people that are housing, experiencing housing instability now, because of COVID or, losing their job during COVID, for example. And people selling their houses for $1.1 million. I don't know. Anyway, people are selling houses that they used to rent, and there's a lot of renters out there that are now, not sure what to do. So I thought it was maybe important to talk about, what does somebody do if they are, if they've lost their housing. But also these strategies are from the Sustainable Connecticut menu of options. So if you decided you wanted to include them and you implemented them, you would also get Sustainable Connecticut points for them.
So Jocelyn, I don't know if you had a chance to see my email, but I'm on the sustainability committee, and we did do this first one.
Okay.
We've designated our social services person as our homeless counseling prevention person, and we put a bunch of the links for information, the 211 program and the guide to homeless prevention. There's some really good information. I think there are about 3 links on the social services homepage.
Okay.
So we did that first one.
Okay, so then I can just talk about what you've already done.
Right,
Um,
that would be good.
And then, and also our social services director said she would attend some trainings when they come available and as her time is available. So she's aware, it's on the radar, but she has not attended any yet. So we don't have that.
No, that's terrific. And again, I think this is something else that if more of our towns decide to designate someone like their social service person, you know, we could have we can have a regional training for our towns, for example, and make it easy for them.
Great.
So, terrific. Okay, so is everybody comfortable then with including this page, this information?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it's very important, and it'll just let people know that we are aware and are trying to assist.
You know, I think it also adds, I don't know how to put this, but that having affordable housing is more than just a nice thing. It may, you know, some people are going to be without a house.
Right,
We know we're getting down to it, folks, and that homelessness for people who do not deserve to be homeless is a real possibility. And that's part of what's going into this. So by adding this into it, I think it reminds people that this is serious. This is not just something that would be a nice thing to do and wouldn't it be great, but that people are going to be without a place to live. So I think I'm very much for including this, the whole idea of putting in a hint and using the word homeless.
right, I agree.
I agree.
Lindsay-
And so did Lindsay. If you're not seeing your chat, it does. It creates a sense of urgency around housing.
I agree. Leave it in.
Great, okay.
And Jocelyn, what we can do, I sent you a screenshot of the social services web page that has the resource links. We can just maybe put like our town links in there or something so they can see.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out, but we
Yeah.
can
The link-
personalize it to
and
Washington.
The links and her contact and any contact information there too, right, Michelle?
Yeah.
Great, awesome. Okay, and then the last thing is just the appendix, which are just questions about whether you wanna, we already talked about just doing a link to the survey results, so we'll do that. And then we can do just a link to the regional housing needs assessment, which again compares Washington to the other towns in the region. And everything else is really just links.
Right.
Is that good with you guys?
Good with me.
It's good. I think we should talk about, so if this is in a digital form, this final plan, you can do things like say, click here or whatever, those links. But if we actually print up some copies, which I think we should, I think having hard copies is a good idea for those who are not as comfortable being online. I think it's still okay that they're links, but we should tell them where they can find it. Like, I think they should all be on the Housing Commission's homepage. We've started a list of links and maybe we'll just add them so that they can find it without necessarily clicking here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, either we could just say, if you want to click on the links, get the plan from the Housing Commission website.
Right,
Or yeah, you could load all of this onto your Housing Commission website or a bunch of it.
but from the hard copy, you're saying, Michelle, you want to be able to let them know that they can go to the Washington website under housing and get the links that they need. And that's
Right.
what we should put in the bottom of the page or something.
Yes,
For the
exactly.
hard copies, right. And I do think we should have some hard copies made.
Okay. All right, great. Any other comments, things that are missing? I mean, obviously pictures are missing.
Guys, would you mind going to the top if
Yep.
we're done?
The top of this page or the
No.
very,
Very top. Maybe page 2 after there was one thing left blank that I just don't know what it is, and you explained it, but everybody else knows, I'm sure. Keep going down. Sorry, a little further. I think it was describe the adoption process. That's it.
Yeah.
Can you just fill me in on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I think that was kind of what we were talking about at the beginning, that basically, you know, the Housing Commission technically will present this housing plan to the Planning Commission at that meeting in October.
Which will be a public hearing.
Which will be a public hearing, right? So any public comment, public input, obviously it will be welcomed. And
And
then,
we will duly notice that public hearing as well, so that nobody says, oh, well, we didn't know about it or anything. The Planning Commission has a whole protocol for properly noticing public hearings, so.
Wayne, I'm sure you're aware now, but you have to notify if they're hybrid.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, Shelley will take care of it.
All right. So that's really, I got that, Jocelyn. Thanks for explaining. Is that it on the adoption process, or do we have?
no, I think basically the, you know, the Planning Commission would, as Wayne said, basically state that the housing plan is consistent with the town plan of conservation and development, and
Right.
refer it to the Board of Selectmen for approval.
Correct.
And then the Board of Selectmen would have, you know, a public meeting like all the Board of Selectmen meetings to decide whether or not to adopt the housing plan.
Okay.
Correct. It's exactly how the POCD works. So,
Right. Okay.
And I can add more details in there. I just, I thought I would put in dates, so I kind of waited to.
Yeah.
Sure.
Understood.
Okay. Thank you.
can I bring up something actually I saw? And this is not, we don't have, I mean, Jocelyn, can you scroll down to the goals and strategies? I can't remember which one. Actually, just go to the last one, which I think was, I don't know, keeping seniors in their homes or
Yep.
whatever. I'm trying to, okay. There was one of them where I saw language. Let's see. Oh, okay. So in some of these strategies, I can tell you right now that some of the planners are gonna get a little antsy when they see terms like consider. Okay, it's like, consider, a town ordinance to, to take a portion of conveyance fees and give it, that sort of thing. The Planning Commission's gonna not like that, because that they look at language like that as a cop-out. I think they're gonna want to see that, like, enact an ordinance that moves that money.
How about addressing or address establishing housing?
How about get rid of consider, just establishing a housing rehabilitation program?
Sure, things like that, because if the folks who are charged with implementing these strategies aren't given clear instructions, they won't pursue them clearly. I mean, say, oh, well, consider doing this. Well, they could spend an hour talking about it in a meeting and then do nothing and say, well, we considered it. And history shows that happens a lot. So I think that, one of the things that we've talked about in crafting the new POCD, one of the major goals of writing the new plan has been put rather inelegantly as no more squishy language. Okay, so we, when you see things in plans that say, well, the town may consider, enacting a study to evaluate whether or not they might want to blah, blah, blah. And that means nothing. It's like, where we would like our next plan to say things like the A commission shall do this and the town shall give them the money to do so. That's, there's no wiggle room in a statement like that. It's like, and Now, maybe it gets done, maybe it doesn't get done, but if it doesn't get done, you can go to the commission or the committee who was in charge of it and say, were you unclear on what the plan said? So, you get rid of the squishy language and it makes it, hopefully it makes it easier to implement because it allows you to assign accountability. Anyway,
I don't disagree.
we
with
we can
Any-
do that
any
or
other-
not, but my if I guarantee you one of my planners is going to see that word consider and they're going to bristle.
So I think we can remove the word consider and just say establish a housing rehabilitation. Because it's funny, I just sent an email to Jim this morning because we got some of that rescue money in. And I know the money can't be used if it's already been budgeted into the town budget.
Right.
But I asked him to consider establishing another assistance program, like our down payment assistance program, for this exact thing, for rehabilitating or assisting people if they've got a septic they have to replace, or, in order for them to maintain their home or whatever. So,
Yeah. An infrastructure bank.
yeah. So I didn't hear back from him, so I'm hoping they're going to consider that in with some of the rescue money, but we could do that along the lines of a down payment assistance thing.
Or, I mean, I'm not, I think the strategies are good. I'm just saying that how they're presented needs to be presented. I think they're going to need to be presented in less squishy language. In other words, they got to be presented in such a way that those who are charged with implementing them don't have an easy way out.
Wayne, are there any others that are bothering you? To me, the only
There
one
wasn't
is consider.
there was one. I'm having trouble finding it here, but there was one about the conveyance fees, about passing a town ordinance that would take a portion of conveyance fees and put them into the affordable housing fund.
Okay.
And that one, I think that was another one that was considered. And I was like, no. I was
Yeah,
like, we shouldn't consider a town ordinance. We should enact a town ordinance. It's like just,
Okay.
and if people hate it, well, then they'll tell us at the public hearing. I won't. They?
Right. So, yeah, I agree.
I agree with Wayne with definite language. If it doesn't get done, they're going to have a reason for it. And that makes it more likely that it will get done.
I agree as
Alright,
well.
Okay, great. So let's, I know we don't have too much time depending on how late you guys want to stick around, but I want to get on to looking at that flyer.
Yes.
I'm gonna stop sharing. And so this was kind of, I think we talked at the last meeting about the idea of having a flyer that could be handed out. I can zoom in a minute. I just thought maybe you want to see the whole thing. But the idea of having a flyer that could be handed out like at the farmer's market, it could be emailed out, it could be linked to. I mean, I would like to spend some time thinking about how we would want to get this out there. So the question is and this was just like thinking out loud about what could be on such a flyer. So what do you guys, do you want me to zoom in more?
I took a look at it. I liked it. I think as a single page thing, I think it came out really well. I like it just the way it is.
I agree. I had a couple of comments, I think in the first box, where it says 1 in every 3 Washington households is paying unaffordable housing costs. In the presentation, we had been talking about them being cost burdened, housing cost burdened, I think, which sounds to me less subjective, or like it's based on some sort of, I don't know, though just paying unaffordable housing costs seems subjective to me, because affordable to whom? But I don't know, that may be just myself. So I don't know if other people.
It's just making a statement of what's happening.
Yeah, I guess the
I-
question is whether people, and again, who aren't familiar with these words, whether unaffordable housing costs or housing cost burdened, which one of those things are meaningful to somebody?
Right.
I don't know if I really like the word burden either. If we're gonna go that way.
Or if we just describe what it actually means, is paying more than 30% of their income on housing or something. Isn't that what they use as a benchmark for for burden, for being?
Yeah, I just
Housing
didn't,
cost
I
burden?
was trying to like keep it short and sweet, but
Short and sweet.
I can add that.
Well,
Or just
I agree
leave
though,
it.
short and sweet is good. I don't want the very first fact that people read to sound like,
We made it up.
yeah, like, well, not just like we made it up, but like it was a feeling, you know, paying unaffordable housing costs. Well, according to who, like, it just sounds kind of squishy. And it's not, I know it's not. It's based on data and it's based on it was either census data or whomever it was that put that together. So I just want to make sure it sounds as real as it is.
What if we said that 1 in 3 Washington households is paying more than a third of their income for housing costs? That
And then
it fits the definition of unaffordable, and it kind of makes the same statement. And it is, you know, easy to understand.
And it's right to the point.
And it goes right to the point. If anybody, you know, further down, they can say, well, 30% is what, you know, defines unaffordable. But before that, we can say there's people in this town that are paying more of a third of their income just to keep a roof over their head.
Yeah.
And then put in parentheses, unaffordable equals
Which,
more
which
than
is,
1/3.
Well,
Which
that, don't we define that further down here somewhere? Isn't that defined somewhere on this one single sheet? Isn't that
Thought it
defined?
was.
I don't think so.
No, we don't have that on this
Oh.
sheet.
Well,
Yeah,
that,
I wondered whether we wanted to have, you know, what is affordable housing on here, but so we could add that and take something else out, or
I
do
think,
things
Jocelyn, that kind of what, I sort of think what was suggested is pretty good, though. It sort of does explain what affordable housing is, instead of the way Ralph just put it. What'd you say, Ralph? 1 in 3 Washington households pay more than a third
of their income.
towards housing, which is considered unaffordable housing.
That's a good one.
It's about 5 words more,
Yep.
but it explains it.
okay.
And then that would go right into the next box, letting them know that the current housing stock is only 2% affordable. So that would follow right along with the flow.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So when you say that 2% is unaffordable, what does that mean? Because it means that we have more people that cannot afford that amount. I mean, what does that mean, 2%?
2% of the town's housing stock is affordable.
So but what does that mean?
It
Well,
means
Affordable, so we're talking about a third of your income. So what? I don't see how 2% relates to unaffordable, because
But if
there's
you read
a lot of people here can afford a lot.
but the average sale price of a home in Washington is 1 million plus.
Oh, I understand that, but
So they're telling you that 2% of all the homes in Washington are only affordable. This is what we're selling homes for in Washington for. It's
Well,
telling
what
you the point
what
that
I'm
we don't
what I'm
have.
hearing is that maybe we do need the definition of what is affordable
I
housing.
think
Yeah,
so.
I think so.
Yeah, and to start off every conversation, because people who are not familiar are going to be confused, and it's whatever, 80% of the area median income You
And
can't
no
spend
more-
more than a third of
The only
your,
reason I didn't add it is because I feel like you can't say that without actually having those numbers. Like what is 80% of the area median income? And then you get into that whole table because it's broken down by housing size. But I'll try to figure out some simplest way possible of saying it without.
I think you could do an average household, forget the whole table. Because as soon as you say, you put a number, $160,000 house, which is sort of the average of the 80% of the area median income, a household not paying more than a third of their income on mortgage. I mean, it's a mouthful, but as soon as you put a number on it, people are like, oh, okay. Because they have no idea. It's
But
Yeah,
very,
this is just a fact sheet, so we want to keep it, but we can also maybe put the links on where they could get more facts regarding some of the terminology. This is just to show people that we're doing this and this is what's happening. So we don't want to give them a whole book, but we could give them links to follow through. If they're really interested, they can go and, look on the website or do whatever to get more information.
I agree. I was also thinking there's the whole back side of this piece of paper. And it's not that expensive to just print the other side. We could put an asterisk and say definition on the back so that we keep like the front visuals simple and visually not overwhelming, but just make sure we get it right there in their hand.
That's not a bad idea. And, I think what Jocelyn's trying to avoid here, and she's right, is that you don't want to get into you don't want to start you want to go on the path of, affordable being in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
Because people say, well, no, I see houses for $400,000 around town and they think that's affordable. And it's like, they have to be, and maybe in the circles they travel in, that is affordable, but in terms of what we're trying to do, that is absolutely not affordable.
Right.
So you need to define affordable in a way that is not squishy.
Well, and that meets the state definition. I mean, we aren't making this up. It might be helpful to let them know the state has criteria. There is a state definition of what affordable is. And we're not making it up.
Yeah. I mean, again, you eliminate the eye of the beholder argument.
Exactly.
So yeah, going to the back page would be okay.
All right, yeah. Well, if we have a whole back page, is there other stuff we want to put on it too?
Now, I don't want a lot of stuff. I think, short and sweet with the initial facts. And if they're really interested, we can tell them where to get more information.
Okay, great. Well, and so down here in terms of how can they get more information or participate? So I assume once I get the draft cleaned up and incorporate your comments from today, we can put a link from the Housing Commission's website, right, to the draft plan. And then I can fill in the date of the Planning Commission meeting. Obviously, they can get a lot more information on the Housing Commission webpage. And then the 10-minute video, I was wondering whether we could post that on the Housing Commission webpage.
It's there.
It's there.
Oh, it is?
It is. So just today, so it was just it just said video or link to housing video, just the words hyperlinked. But today I added a picture. Our IT person cannot tell me how to link a picture, but the link is under the picture. That was the best I could do.
Awesome. Okay, so I will change this text to say where that is. And I mean, I just made up these 5 things.
I think they're great though.
And like I said, I will get in touch with Bill and see what we can get for information for the trust.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we need to beef that up before we send a lot of people their direction. They need to make sure they're ready. I was also thinking that, Jocelyn, some of the some of the resources that we might want to put even more information on the Housing Commission page, because they're on the COGS page, things that we've used, are whether what is it? The communities, the partnership for housing, whatever. Some of those reports we could add to the Housing Commission as well, since we're going to refer people there. Because right now it's just the forum, the links to the forums and the
Video.
and the video and the PowerPoints and an FAQ sheet that you sent us.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Jocelyn, do you have any great quotes or anything positive housing kind of quotes and things that you must be using? The only reason I'm saying it, now that we have more space, if we do this as a two-sider, making this much more spacious, I think would look better, and maybe starting with something positive at the top, something to sort of make people feel warm and fuzzy and good about housing.
Hmm.
I like the
That's
idea.
a tough one,
Yeah,
Dee.
I really like the idea too. I mean, I always find that quotes from people, you know, like the school superintendent. Is it Megan? Is that her?
Yeah,
Maybe we could,
I'm just thinking about where I like where you're going. I'm just thinking your organization may have some things just where this is going to be used. I was thinking of the farmers market. This is the kind of thing that people pick up. They either throw it in the trash right away, or they glance at it and throw it in the trash, or they're kind of intrigued and stick it in their purse or pocket and look at it later. So I just think that maybe some sort of pot, people are feeling good. They're at the farmers market. They're feeling green and
you want like some kind of like cat poster quote?
You read my mind. That's it exactly. Yeah.
Endurance.
Yeah, exactly. Please don't do one of those. I'm begging you, but yeah, you get the idea.
But you're thinking at the just right up front on the front, or?
Yeah, probably. You scroll up a little. I'm trying to scroll your screen. Maybe if we just call it a fun fact sheet. No.
Fun facts.
I don't know. Maybe it's corny, but I'm with Michelle. Sort of mentioned this. I hate negative signage. It's one of my pet peeves. I hate it in stores. I want to leave the store. If you put up you're discouraging me from shopping in your place with a negative sign. So it's a pet peeve of mine. So when you start, these aren't exactly negative, but they're not exactly positive about
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
Interesting facts.
I can get rid of the fact sheet thing.
Yeah, maybe put something up there. There must be something about.
How about just eliminating fact sheet and just leave it the way it is? Why is the town of Washington developing an affordable housing plan? And how can I learn more? And then just run it down and you don't have to say fact sheet.
How about I put in housing is fun?
learning about housing is
You're gonna make me regret I opened this can of worms, aren't you?
I'll think about something. Maybe
housing.
that could be a homework assignment. Everyone can think tonight about a way to make housing fact sheets fun.
I think Dean needs to take this project on. He brought it up.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Leslie.
Well, this is something that might pop into your head when you're like in the shower, or I don't know.
Yeah, that's something.
So this is not probably exactly what we're looking for, but when you said that, Dean, it reminded me that they threw a quote from Jim Britton in the selectmen's email on the July 2nd, and it says, "Your hometown is not where you are from, it's who you are."
Oh,
And that's not exactly what we're looking for, but something that's maybe local and speaks to your home or us as a town.
I like it.
I think it's on the right track. It's not exactly it, but.
All right. Well, my sister-in-law just published a book, and I'm taking the hit for the team. I'm having to read it. It's a religious book. And it starts with Lou Patrick said, "Home is a place outwardly, but inside it is a time that is before time." Yeah, let's go with Jim Britton's quote.
All right, I'll look for inspirational home sentences. I'll Google it.
Okay.
All
Or
right.
it doesn't necessarily have to be a quote. What maybe just something positive about what we're doing. Why
Yeah.
is the town doing this? And then, something about why we need this. Instead of fact sheet, a line that says,
We care about the people and we would like
right.
to see more.
There you go, Leslie. Right. This is something
Why is the
that's
town
been
of
put off
Washington
for
developing?
decades, and
Yeah,
that's not positive. But anyhow,
Well, I just read in the newspaper, it was actually from Janelle, who's working with Cornwall. Cornwall's doing their affordable housing plan too. And it was a quote that sort of struck me about, how a diverse housing stock contributes to the vibrancy of your town. It was something about,
that'd be good.
because you need everyone represented in order to be vibrant. So
something
love that.
along those lines.
yeah, it was something like that.
For you.
Yeah, Michelle, that's exactly sort of the idea I had.
Because that's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to make sure that we have diverse housing, so that everyone can live here.
That we
And
care,
that's what makes a healthy community.
right?
All right. So I will make some edits to this and get it back out to you. How do you want to get it out there?
So I just want to throw out there, without starting a whole nother conversation, but I just did a paper survey because I needed to for a sustainable an equity project that I'm working on. But anyway, I managed to take it in person to families. I saw the children at camp drop-offs and I handed it to the parents, and 90% of them had not attended any of the forums or were aware of the survey or anything. But over 60% of them thought that housing was an important issue, and 20% weren't sure. Like almost none of them said it wasn't an issue. It's just it wasn't on their radar. So I think this whole idea of putting it into people's hands is really important, because they're not engaged in the ways that the means we've been using so far.
Right.
Whether that's at the farmer's market or any kind of large event, whether it's a concert down at the pavilion or at the market or the library or wherever there are people, I think is an opportunity.
Yeah, the churches.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Would you want to consider direct mail? This may not be a great direct mail piece, but
I think it just kind of takes a personal touch, whether it's you personally handing it to them
I
or
would not direct
a leave
mail.
behind. You can always have a stack like at the library or something, but
Yep.
and it
Well,
perhaps
and
we
maybe
should
this
have a
could
contact.
maybe there could be an article in the
Paper.
newsletter, town newsletter, that links to this.
Yep.
Um,
I think a direct mail is useless because if you go to the post office, you'll see a lot of this stuff in the recycle bin. If you come up to the transfer station, you'll see a lot of it going into recycle. So
oh yeah.
Okay, well, so since we're not meeting in August, I guess, what I'm wondering is is somebody already going to be at the farmer's market and is willing to hand this out? Or, I think it would be great to, what is it? It's mid-July, so probably, handing this out in August is in as many ways as possible.
We should make sure we have the date of that public hearing on here.
Right. Good point.
We don't want to miss that opportunity.
And if we're getting them around town, 2 weeks before then it makes some sense.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, that's gonna be on here. That's right here. Attend the Washington Planning Commission meeting.
Yeah, and that's not, and at this point, it's not till October, so we've got all of August and September.
Oh, right, September too. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
we've got time, because people are kind of in vacation mode. We'll hit the farmers markets, definitely. But then,
Okay, when you say we, do you mean you? I just want to know who,
Oh, I'm willing to pull a shift at the farmer's market. I mean,
Cool.
I for one, I shop there religiously every Saturday, so and I can walk to it. So I'm
Okay.
more than happy to spend an hour or so sitting at a little table in the shade, you know, talking to people about it. I mean,
I'll put some around in shops in town. I can go around and talk to people. Jocelyn, I think maybe if everybody agrees, the date should be maybe as prominent as that line, the purpose in between boxes, please come to, on this
Okay.
date.
okay.
I think it's that important. Does everybody else think that?
No, I agree. The more people that we can make aware that this is transpiring, the better.
Right.
I'll put it as number 1 too.
Okay.
Great.
I didn't see, I know do we have anything to put in there for habitat, Housatonic Habitat? Because they are now starting 2 homes. Should we include any of their information in any of this? Because I just gave a couple, all kinds of information on that situation.
Yeah, we can include that.
Maybe
That's
that
good.
could go on the back as one of the contacts.
I also think in the plan, we might want to include a little blurb about Housatonic Habitat.
Yep.
sure, we might want to reach out to them too. They have a new executive director now. So
Oh,
yes, they just appointed a new executive director. So we will probably want to reach out to her. It's in one of my emails. But as of like a couple weeks ago, a week or two ago, they have a new director.
Okay.
okay. So it's not Fran anymore.
It's not Fran anymore. No.
She's
But-
about to retire, but she's staying on for special projects.
Right. She's remaining on the board, but she's not going to be. Yeah. And the other
For
guy.
the fall, I
what's his-
think.
Yeah. And so there's going to be an overlap. They're trying to smooth the transition, but there is going to be a new director.
Okay, because I gave Fran's name out the other day, so.
Well, Fran will forward it, the info.
Yeah.
She's so involved. I've
Yeah.
got it here. Her name's Diane Arfine.
Correct.
And she's been with Habitat for a while. She was the manager of their restore operations and stuff, so
Yeah.
she's not new to the whole
But I do
Habitat.
think it's important that somewhere in the plan, we include them like we have the trust.
I agree, especially since they have so many houses
And
planned.
they've got permission to do 2, so, and they still will have 5 to go, so I think that's important.
I
Yep,
agree.
and they're a different model than the
Right.
trust, but they're a proven model. So
Right,
they should get our support as well.
and they offer things that, like the trust doesn't, they offer the 30-year interest-free mortgage,
Right.
which helps people out a lot, so, yeah, I think I really want to see some information for Housatonic, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will send out a revised flyer and then just ask people to sort of write back in terms of how, and if there's a way that they, like if they're going to take a shift at the farmer's market or pass it, just to reply all in terms of what they think they might be able to do to get the word out.
Before we set up those shifts, I'll reach out to Laura. They don't let everyone just set up at the farmer's market. So
Okay.
if they don't, we can always sit outside the market or just on the sidewalk between the farmer's market and the market. Because the market used to be where everybody would set up for fundraisers or to communicate. So it's still a busy spot. I'll check in with her first.
We could also put the sandwich board up somewhere on the sidewalk between the market and the farmer's market. Or something like that. Or under the pergola or somewhere along there.
Yeah. Yeah, let me check in and see what they say, and then we'll start getting, we'll start the shifts. Jocelyn, just for printing, I mean, this isn't a huge printing thing. I don't know exactly how many copies I can print here. Do we have any money left in the grant to send it out to print?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it'll probably be less than $100 because it's just regular paper, but I'm just
Yeah,
wondering.
we have like a printing copying line item in the budget, so
Awesome.
yeah, we can definitely do that.
Jocelyn, can you make sure that I get a copy of this as well? Even though
Yeah.
I'm not on the committee yet, I'm hoping to be able to join.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just need to get your email address, Judy.
Okay, so who do you want me to send it to?
Do you have my,
Or I'll just give it to you.
have Michelle send it to
I
me?
was gonna say, I can send it to you guys.
Michelle has it.
All right, great. So we're not going to meet in August, but hopefully you guys will be out passing the flyer around. And then we'll meet again in September at the regular
On the 14th,
14th, September 14th.
which is also the COG meeting.
The what?
The Northwest COG meeting is the 14th of September.
Oh, the Housing Council meeting.
Right.
Yep. And then,
We didn't talk specifically, but I think we should think about what kind of pictures we want in this. Or we
Yes,
should all
yes.
just take some and send them. But are we thinking buildings? Are we thinking people? Are we thinking landmarks? Or all of the above?
All of the above. And then we can sort through.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, again, we can, changing out photos or doing different photos, that's not too hard. So I think, yeah, if anybody's just, I mean, Leslie texted me photos that she took on her phone, which is fine, that's perfect. You know, just let me know. I'm not going to give you my cell phone number right now, but I will, you know, email me and tell me you have pictures on your cell phone. I'll send you my number, or email them to me, you know, if there's something specific. I mean, I would love to have pictures of, I can't remember what Anne Marie sent me. You know, obviously pictures of the existing affordable housing that are a little bit nicer than what we were able to show in the slides would be great.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
can do
also,
that.
I think pictures of people are great, maybe crowd photos. If we have identifiable, then we need permission.
Right.
So just to be aware of that.
I mean, I even took a picture of the Legion and Senior Center signs today. I think I sent that to Jocelyn. Just, it's a point of interest in town that people can relate to. And I took one of the plaza, but that didn't come out good.
We
It's
have
just
some good ones.
Show people what we have here in town.
Okay, good. So we need to get pictures to you. And we need to
Yeah.
get a few more resources on the Housing Commission's site before we direct everyone to it.
Yeah, and I
Um,
might not have time to, like, I could add photos, but I really want to take the time to redesign the plan. Again, once we have the content, mostly what we want it to be, I need to redesign it. So I might not have time to do that, but we can still get the draft plan out and the content will be there, you know?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, great. Terrific, yeah, so send me pictures. I'll get you the revised flyer. I'll make the revisions to the plan that we talked about. And we'll keep this bus moving.
Excellent.
Plan.
Thank you.
Let me say again, Jocelyn, thank you very much for all the work that you have done. It's been a good job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Somebody agrees with me.
Yeah, she's got a rabbit out there or something.
Awesome. All right, anything else? No.
I'm good.
Great. All
Are you
right.
gonna officially adjourn us, Leslie?
Yeah, one sec, I gotta do something here. I'm sorry. Okay, yes, thank you, everybody. Sorry about that. I can't multitask, okay? You'll have to forgive me.
Okay, move to adjourn.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Yes, good night.